Please unmute yourself, Bela.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसंन्यासयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच शरीरवाङ्मनोभिर्यत् कर्म प्रारभते नरः न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यत्यकृतबुद्धित्वान् न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः। यस्य नाहं कृतो भावो बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वापि स इमां लोकान् न हन्ति न निबध्यते। ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं परिज्ञाता त्रिविधा कर्म चोदना करणं कर्म कर्तेति त्रिविधः कर्म संग्रहः ज्ञानं कर्म च कर्ता च त्रिधैव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसङ्ख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि सर्वभूतेषु येनैकं भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम् पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नानाभावान् पृथग्विधान् वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि राजसम् यत्तु कृत्स्नवदेकस्मिन् कार्ये सक्तमहैतुकम् अतत्त्वार्थवदल्पं च तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् नियतं सङ्गरहितं रागद्वेषतः कृतम् अफलप्रेप्सुना कर्म यत्तत् सात्विकमुच्यते यत्तु कामेप्सुना कर्म साहङ्कारेण वा पुनः क्रियते बहुलायासं तद्राजसमुदाहृतम् अनुबन्धं क्षयं हिंसाम् अनपेक्ष च पौरुषम् मोहादारभ्यते कर्म यत्तत्तामसमुच्यते मुक्तसङ्गो नहं वादी धृत्युत्साहसमन्वितः सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यो निर्विकारः कर्ता सात्विक उच्यते रागी कर्मफलप्रेप्सुः लुब्धो हिंसात्मको शुचिः हर्षशोकान्वितः कर्ता राजसः परिकीर्तितः अयुक्तः प्राकृतस्तब्धः शठो नैष्कृतिको लसः विषादी दीर्घसूत्री च कर्ता तामस उच्यते बुद्धेर्भेदं धृतैश्चैव गुणतस्त्रिविधं शृणु प्रोच्यमानमशेषेण पृथक्त्वेन धनञ्जय प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च कार्याकार्ये भयाभये बन्धं मोक्षं च या वेत्ति बुद्धिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी यया धर्ममधर्मं च कार्यं चाकार्यमेव च अयथावत् प्रजानाति बुद्धिः सा पार्थ राजसी अधर्मं धर्ममिति या मन्यते तमसावृता सर्वार्थान् विपरीतांश बुद्धि सा पार्थ तामसी धृत्या यया धारयते मनः प्राणेन्द्रियक्रियाः योगेनाव्यभिचारिण्या धृति सा पार्थ सात्विकी यया तु धर्मकामार्थान् धृत्या धारयतेऽर्जुन प्रसङ्गेन फलाकाङ्क्षी धृति सा पार्थ राजसी यया स्वप्नं भयं शोकं विषादं मदमेव च न विमुञ्चति दुर्मेधा धृति सा पार्थ तामसी ॐ तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। I think we went to shloka 30. Please let me know. So, 30th shloka, right? Did we complete 30th shloka? Can someone guide me?
We did, but we need to redo it again.
Shloka
We
30th,
didn't
Sumaji?
complete.
Threefold division of mind.
We have to do it. We just
Okay.
read it.
Okay. So the verse 29 talks about the thought process. I will just quickly browse through the verse. बुद्धेर्भेदं धृतैश्चैव गुणतस्त्रिविधं शृणु प्रोच्यमानमशेषेण पृथक्त्वेन धनञ्जय. O Dhananjay, please listen to the threefold difference according to guna of the mind and of the resolve that is being told completely and severally. So it is about the dhriti and the guna of the mind. So the last paragraph said, then again the dhriti resolve is also threefold. This dhriti that he is going to talk about later is also about another vritti obtaining in the buddhi. These two things then, the mind and the resolve, buddhi and dhriti, are being explained in a threefold way based on guna. This is now being told completely without leaving anything to be desired. Asheshatah. Here we have an introductory verse on what he is going to tell in the next 3 verses about Dhriti and Buddhi. We will see in general what kind of Buddhi and Dhriti are Satviki. Threefold division of mind. First, the Satviki Buddhi is being told. How does it think? Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya veti buddhi sa partha satviki. Partha, O Arjuna, ya buddhi, that mind which pravrittim cha, the pursuit of karma, nivrittim cha, the renunciation, karya, akarye, what is to be done and what is not to be done, bhaya, abhay, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, bandham, bondage, moksham, cha, and freedom, vetti, knows, sa buddhihi, that mind, satviki, is satviki. Partha, ya buddhihi, pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya akarye, bhaya abhaye, bandham, moksham cha vetti, sa buddhihi, satviki. The mind which knows the pursuit of karma and renunciation, what is to be done and what is not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, and bondage and freedom, that mind, Arjuna, is Satviki. I repeat, the mind which knows the pursuit of karma and renunciation, what is to be done and what is not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, and bondage and freedom, that mind, Arjuna, is Satviki. Satvika mind. The buddhi that knows these few things is Satviki. What does it know? It knows that pursuit of karma, pravritti, is the cause for bondage. But when it is done as karma yoga, pravritti is the cause for moksha because it involves karma phala tyaga, renunciation of the result of an action. Then it is not really pravritti but nivritti because where there is renunciation, there is nivritti, even though the person may be engaged in many activities. When these activities are done for the sake of mental purification, antahkarana shuddhi, with an attitude of making an offering to Ishvara, Ishvararpana buddhya, then moksha, release from bondage, is the result, which is not a karma phala, really speaking. The mental purification, antakarana shuddhi, is only the removal of antakarana's impurities because every mind is already clean by nature. That is why everybody has sympathy, compassion, love, etc., which are the qualities of a pure antakarana. So it is easy being karma yogi, but with a very important condition, karma phala tyaga. There is nivritti even while doing the action. Even while in pravritti, one becomes nivritta. There is no bondage. And it gives then the moksha. With Ishwararpana buddhi, that is very, very important. That whatever you are doing, it is an offering to Ishvara. And that is why whatever you receive becomes the prashada from the Ishvara. Nothing has to be created here. We only have to remove, in general, raga and dvesha. This is the term that we use for all the impurity like guilt, hurt, anger, and so on. Removing all of them is not a real result because it is a getting rid of and therefore kind of tyaga. I repeat, there is a voice breaking. Nothing has to be created here. We only have to remove in general raga and dvesha. This is the term that we use for all the impurity like guilt, hurt, anger, and so on. Removing all of them is not a real result because it is a getting rid of and therefore a kind of tyaga. Sannyasa, of course, is nivritti, but even a karma yogi is not doing action for punya, for the sake of heaven or anything else. If he has moksha as the ultimate end in view, his buddhi has discrimination and is therefore sattviki. He knows exactly what he is seeking, purushartha. What is aimed at can be simple security or pleasure or dharma to be exchanged later for security and pleasure. It is all the same. In order to get to and remain in heaven for some time, you must have the capital, which is punya. And again, you are going to enjoy heaven in terms of pleasures like music, dance, etc. It is the same old thing. All of them come under the bracket of samsara. He knows he is not seeking any of these, he is seeking moksha. And this clear ascertainment of his pursuit leads him to the knowledge that the cause for bondage is pravritti. But knowing this, one may not know what is the cause for moksha. Since his buddhi is sattviki, he also knows that the cause for moksha is nivritti, which means knowledge, jnana, preceded by karma yoga or sannyasa. He knows exactly how to gain this knowledge. Very important. I repeat this paragraph one more time. Nothing has to be created here. We only have to remove in general raga and dvesha. This is the term that we use for all the impurity like guilt, hurt, anger, and so on. Removing all of them is not a real result because it is a getting rid of and therefore a kind of tyaga. Sannyasa, of course, is nivritti, but even a karma yogi is not doing action for punya, for the sake of heaven or anything else. If he has moksha as the ultimate end in view, his buddhi has discrimination and is therefore sattviki. He knows exactly what he is seeking, purushartha. What is aimed at can be simple security or pleasure or dharma, be exchanged later for security and pleasure. It is all the same. In order to get to and remain in heaven for some time, you must have the capital, which is punya. And again, You are going to enjoy heaven in terms of pleasures like music, dance, etc. It is the same old thing. All of them come under the bracket of samsara. He knows he is not seeking any of these. He is seeking moksha. And this clear ascertainment of his pursuit leads him to the knowledge that the cause for bondage is pravritti. But knowing this, one may not know what is the cause for moksha. Since his buddhi is sattviki, he also knows that the cause for moksha is nivritti, which means knowledge, jnana, preceded by karma yoga or sannyasa. He knows exactly how to gain this knowledge. So he has that viveka buddhi, what is to be done for moksha. Although he doesn't know the real cause for moksha, but he knows that the cause for bondage is pravritti. So his buddhi is satviki, the one who has viveka buddhi, discrimination, and he knows his purushartha. And that is moksha is nivritti and it is through jnana only. Why do we not take pravritti and nivritti as do's and don'ts? That is a possible reading, but not here, because Krishna has separately said karya akarye. Karya means those actions that have to be done, such as enjoined karmas, vihita karmas, and akarya means those that are not to be done, prohibited actions, pratisiddha karmas. There are worldly do's and don'ts, such as traffic rules, tax laws, social norms, and Vaidika do's and don'ts, including not only rituals, but the universal values like truthfulness, non-injury, not stealing, etc. There again, we require value education. If that is missing, a person may do the right thing and avoid the wrong thing, not because of proper thinking or conviction about right and wrong, but just because he is afraid of being caught. If you ask him a few questions about why he acts as he does, he eventually has no answer. In terms of worldly do's and don'ts, there are certain things that depend upon the time and place. What is acceptable at one time and place may not be at another, and sometimes subtle discrimination is required to determine this. So, about the Vihita karmas as karya and pratisiddha karmas as prohibited actions. So it should be with knowledge. It should not be out of blind faith or fear. Then it becomes real nivritti even while doing pravritti. The Shastra says one should not harm anyone. Himsam na kuryat, as does any government. But in the hunting season in Pennsylvania, you can get a license to hunt deer for 3 months because of overpopulation of the deer. Just imagine, suppose the deer population talks it over and decides Pennsylvania is getting overpopulated with humans. We should do something about it. And they start coming after the people with guns. Then we will understand how illegitimate this kind of thinking is. If we are at the other end, being hunted even for a day, we will understand what it means to be hunted. If you hunt, you can be sure somebody will hunt you later. Perhaps these deer were all Americans hunting deer before. We do not know. Any universal rule cannot be categorical. We have to interpret it according to time and place, taking into account a number of factors. Even a prescribed ritual cannot be done on any day at any time, or with an oblation or mantra, or in any sequence. People who are religious should know exactly what is to be done and what is not to be done if they are interested in punya and papa, etc. If they are interested in moksha, the knowledge of karya and akarya is much more clear and intimate because of the predominance of sattva in the mind. So beautiful conclusion. Very nice. Then again, this is a person who has a mind that knows what he should be afraid of and of what he should not be. It means not being foolhardy in situations where you should be cautious. You cannot just say, I do not care, I am not afraid, when you are in a dangerous situation like facing a thief or a tiger. You cannot just say, I can manage the tiger. After all, a tiger has no hands, it has only 4 legs, while I have hands and legs. An intelligent person should know how to manage a tiger. 10 fellows were walking in the forest. One fellow saw a tiger and called out to the others, there is a tiger. Come on, those who are afraid of the tiger, please lie down on me. That is called management. Then, too, one should not create a situation which is difficult to manage. If you are going into the forest, go in a jeep. Otherwise, do not go. If there is something that is dangerous and that you should be afraid of, stay away from it. It is foolish, for example, to go walking in certain sections.
Gurudev Bela, I think I'm not sure that's for me, but there is a little disturbance in the voice.
Is it? Oh. Can
Yes,
someone take over, please?
disturbance voice, yeah.
Only
Kshama.
the last paragraph onwards. So earlier it was fine.
Yeah.
I can
Should I
read it.
repeat? Or? Yeah. Please go ahead, Sumaji. Yeah.
I'll read from here, this again, or you want me to read earlier?
Whenever there was a disturbance, I think you can read those paragraphs again, please, because these are very important paragraphs.
I think it was
Okay.
only from the last paragraph.
A person who's very clear from there.
No, the previous paragraph, please.
Okay. 10 fellows were walking in the forest. One fellow saw a tiger and called out to others, there is a tiger. Come on. Those who are afraid of the tiger, please lie down on me. This is called management. Then, too, one should not create a situation which is difficult to manage. If you are going into the forest, go in a jeep. Otherwise, do not go. If there is something that is dangerous and that you should be afraid of, stay away from it. It is foolish, for example, to go walking in certain sections of the Manhattan after dark, even if you know karate. A mugger is not going to engage you in a bout of karate, following all the rules. He hits you with a baseball bat or shoots you with a gun, and you are finished. Going to places where you should not go because of a false courage is dangerous. In the movies, it is fine. In real life, it does not work. It is not that you are afraid, you are prudent. From things that we should be afraid of, we should keep away. There are visible things, and there are also invisible things which are not seen, of which we have to be afraid and from which we have to keep away. Invoking some Sudra Devata.
Shudra Devata.
Invoking some Shudra Devata to gain some power, in other words. Black magic is dangerous. This is not the Adrishtafala one should seek. One should seek only grace, Punya.
That is Kshudra Devata.
Shudra, okay.
Kshu. Kshu.
Shudra. Kshudra, okay. So we should not do things like black magic or invoking Shudra Devata to gain power. One should seek only grace and Punya. A person who is very clear about what is to be feared and what is not to be feared knows what is Bhaya and Abhaya. The Buddhi, the faculty of thinking that knows what is proper and improper, what should be feared, what should be avoided, and what should be pursued, is a Sattviki Buddhi. So what is improper, what is to be feared, what is to be avoided, and what is to be pursued. That is a Sattviki Buddhi. Then further he knows what is
I think
bondage.
here, sorry, maybe we can, reflect on these before we go forward.
The Sattviki Buddhi.
Yeah. Especially this last few paragraphs that we listen and learn. Going back to the aspect of we're not creating anything. It's just a matter of shedding. It's a matter of letting go. That is why it is said, Tyage naikena amritatva manasuhu. It is only by tyaga, and that is the tyaga is letting go of all the impurities that have settled in the mind because of all our previous lives, all the vasanas that have accrued through the previous lifetimes. So it is only by letting go of that. And very rightly, Gurudev says so many times, enlightenment is not accruing anything. It's not getting anything. It is only the art of letting go. You just have to let go of all that we are holding on to, all the small identity, our ragas, dveshas.
Letting go of hurt, guilt, anger, and so on.
Yeah.
Isn't it? These are also impurities.
Of course, they are included. We are holding on to so many. And the most important thing we are holding on to is the I, the ego. And because of that, all the others follow. Because of the I, we have raga dvesha. Because of that, we have hurt, guilt, and anger, frustration. So we have to detach from this identification. That tyaga is important. And that is the nivritti.
Hari Om. Very beautifully. So it is in the beginning, Bhagwan is telling Nivritti, Tyaga doesn't mean that not doing the action. Doing the action, but without any karma phala, without any result, without having bondage to the result. So that is very, very important. Tyaga, word Tyaga is so very wonderful. The Tyaga of those all negative tendencies in us, all those vritti which are keeping us bonded to the samsara. So being free from those by offering it to the Ishvara, by doing the things for Ishvara.
And see, everything falls in place. You're doing it. You're, as a karma yogi, of course, you cannot give up action. You're going to continue to do. And you do it 100%. Do it perfectly in the best way possible. And then drop the results. You do it with a yajna bhava. Whatever is done, it is done as an offering. And that last sentence that was read, it should not be to invoke any kshudra devata, it should be for grace, punya. Also, I mean, I think Swamiji mentioned it is for punya, but a karma yogi doesn't do things for punya. The grace automatically accrues. The adrishta phala comes because every action has a result ingrained in it. So when you're doing value-based actions as the yajna bhava, all that will accrue to you is only grace. So I think we should understand that sentence in that meaning. It is not that we are doing things for punya. Then if it's for punya, then it's again, he is no better than a samsari.
Bondage, yeah. Again bondage.
Isn't it? So
Correct.
he mentioned that there in that context is we should do things which are dharmic and not adharmic.
Hari Om. Like if we are doing the karma with the yajna bhava, but doing that, giving that 100%, don't we get again into that perfectionism? Like we want to do it wholly, like we don't want to do it partially. Your desire is that you do that work with utmost, like how much effort you can put with that sincerity. So it doesn't, it leads again to perfectionism. This
100% is
line of
being 100% is you're putting in all your efforts and you're in the moment. It doesn't mean the result is 100% of what you think it should be. That is perfectionism, isn't it? So here you are in the moment and you're putting in, your mind is there. It is not going here or there. You are putting in your effort. The outcome may be what you expect it to be or something different. That is different. If you are
no,
holding
we don't
on
think
to the
about
outcome,
the outcome. But those effort which we put, doesn't they are in line with that you are pursuing that perfection in that work? It is like I think it's a thin line.
no, it is not. See, the example of that Olympic runner, if he when he's training to get the gold medal, and he lets loose his effort a little bit towards the end, that he only will understand. That 100% nobody else outside can know. It is only that maybe others can know if it is really very lax, but then he is the one who knows he's not putting in his 100%. If he lets loose there and he comes, say, second or silver or a bronze medal, he is going to be pinched because he didn't put his 100% effort. Whereas that person who runs, who does his best, but yet comes last in the race, is happy with himself. That is an internal meter. I think the 100% is an internal meter. that each one of us has to reflect upon. It is not so much about the outcome. Perfectionist is more attached, is obsessed with the outcome.
Desire based, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No, it is about the outcome, right?
Jai Guru Devani, without feverishness, even doing
Without
that.
feverishness. Yeah, very true. If you're in the moment, you can't be feverish. Feverishness comes when you're attaching to the result. You're anxious about the result. Then there is feverishness. Oh, how will it happen? What will happen? How will it? What medal will I get? So then there is that element of anxiety, feverishness, craving.
And the joy in doing every step in the
Yeah.
process.
Actually, when we do it as a yajna bhav, no, that is 100%. That just those two things. One is Ishwararpana Buddhi, and then second, prasad. Of course, prasada Buddhi comes at the end when the outcome comes. But that Ishwararpana Buddhi, if we are able to do, that is Karma Yoga. We are living out of joy. We are acting, we are doing things out of joy and not for joy. That puts us in the category of doing it things joyfully. When you're joyful, you're in the present. And in the present, your action cannot but be perfect or be whatever it's supposed to be.
It happens. It happens. I mean, you
Spontaneous.
don't have to put an extra effort. It happens.
Because it is not a diet, it is not tailor-made for it. It's very spontaneous from within. And that example of the tiger and this, if we extrapolate it, Swamiji gave the example of a tiger. When you extrapolate it to people around you, that is, again, it is your living out of discrimination. We are responsible for our actions as well as inactions, right? So when you're encountering a person who's evil, who's not so value based, is not principled, then you will have to kind of distance yourself. That makes sense. Like you will not go and befriend a tiger, knowing well that the tiger is a wild animal. So you keep your distance. So that is the discrimination between bhaya and abhaya. What is to be feared? What is not to be feared? What is not to be feared? Your values, your principles. That should not be feared. And then what to be feared is all of this. For instance, taking to black magic, doing this and that. Swamiji has given the extreme example, but we can extrapolate it to small things that come up in our lives. So when you look at what Patanjali says with respect to people who are doing evil things, who are doing not so good things in life, he says, be indifferent to them. So this is that creating that distance, keeping away, maybe not physically, but at least in your mind, keep away from such people.
Hari Om Brahmaraji, could you please explain this line? What is aimed at can be simple security or pleasure or dharma to be exchanged later for security and pleasure.
Where is that line?
That is on page 235, the first paragraph, the beginning only. What is aimed at can be simple security or pleasure or dharma to be exchanged later for security and pleasure. Page 235.
Here, it's in the first paragraph.
Yeah. Thus,
He
he knows
he is
exactly what.
not seeking any of these. He is seeking moksha. And this clear ascertainment of his pursuit leads him to the knowledge that the cause for bondage is pravritti. But knowing this, one may not know what is the cause for moksha. Somewhere here only I saw.
I think if you can read, no, it is there. I made out where it is. It's in the middle of the paragraph. So he's talking of, can you just go up a little bit? I mean, yeah, scroll down. The previous paragraph, the previous page, 234. Yeah, nothing has to be created here. We have only to remove, in general, raga dvesha. This is the term that we use for all the impurity. Removing all of them is not a real result because it is a getting rid of, and therefore a kind of tyaga. Sannyasa, of course, is nivritti, but even a karma yogi is not doing action for punya, for the sake of heaven or anything else. If he has moksha as the ultimate end in view, his buddhi has discrimination and is therefore satviki. He knows exactly what he is seeking, purushartha. What is aimed at can be simple security or pleasure or dharma, to be exchanged later for security and pleasure. It is all the same. See, he's talking in contrast. This what is aimed at simple security or pleasure is for all those who do not have moksha purushartha, to be exchanged later for security and pleasure. That is, later is afterlife, like in heaven. It is all the same. In order to get to and remain in heaven for some time, you must have the capital, which is punya. And again, you are going to enjoy heaven in terms of pleasures like music, dance, etc. It is the same old thing. All of them come under the bracket of samsara. So these few lines, he's talking of a samsari. So he is aiming at seeking some small pleasure and security in order to gain some later security and pleasure. Later is in heaven. So the focus is only about punya. He's doing things right, dharmically, yes. But it is only for getting
Punya,
a better life.
punya.
Yeah, getting a better. So this is, he's contrasting karma yogi to a samsari, a dharmic samsari, so to say. He knows he's not seeking any of these. He's seeking moksha. So he knows he is not seeking is, again, coming back to the karma yogi. He is not seeking any of these. He is seeking moksha, and his clear ascertainment of his pursuit leads him to the knowledge that the cause for bondage is pravritti. But knowing this, one may not know what is the cause for moksha. Since his buddhi is satviki, he also knows that the cause for moksha is nivritti, which means knowledge, jnana, preceded by karma yoga or sannyasa. He knows exactly how to gain this knowledge. So he goes to a guru, or he, because of the adrishta phala, a guru comes into his life, and he goes to a shrotriya brahmanishta, does seva, does, asks questions appropriately, and then he seeks knowledge, and then through knowledge he knows the cause for moksha is knowledge. Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah, dhanyavad, Brahmadatta. Very beautiful.
Oh, I didn't realize there's only one small paragraph before. But then this the example of that tiger is so important for us to remember. I'm remembering the story that Prem had narrated a few days ago about that snake hissing. So we will have to be wise and be skillful, use yukti. And it's all about coming back to accepting situations in an active manner, not passively. Not that because you're doing Bhagavad Gita and all, everyone can trample upon you. No. You will have to stay your ground. Have that self-esteem and
and act inaction also, not telling people that are not doing things right, not pointing out to them, that also becomes your responsibility. So we have to take that responsibility.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev, and that hissing is for that person. It should not affect you, mentally, or it should not
It is
disturb
just
you.
showing anger,
Yeah,
no,
just
not becoming
yes,
anger.
correct. Becoming
Just
angry.
showing
Yeah,
anger. Yeah.
yes.
That is true. That is what Gurudev also says, no? You need to show anger. Like as a parent, you can't be lovey-dovey with your children all the time. You have to discipline them when it's required. You have to show anger.
Yeah,
Whether
that
it's with your
Sama
children.
Dama Danda Bhed.
Yeah. So becoming, that is why they say Viveka and Vairagya. This Viveka is what is here, this discrimination. What should be done, what should not be done. What should be feared, what should not be feared. This is the whole line of thinking. No, when we are in this knowledge, we are slowly getting that clarity in our mind as to what the Satvika Dhriti is. And basically, it is our thoughts that translate into action. It all begins as a thought. So therefore, we need to rectify our way of thinking, put it back on track.
Yeah, and even Gurudev was once saying that, like these days, parents are very, very soft with children. They don't scold them or anything. He said, no, if they go wrong, you have to scold them, because that is how they will become little stronger. Otherwise, they'll keep feeling bad here and there when they go outside in the world, and they become depressed and they cannot take any criticism. So it is like a booster. Yeah, at home you are making preparing
Like
him
you're
for,
vaccinating them.
yeah, vaccinating them. Yeah.
I'll just read the last paragraph.
Yes, please go ahead.
One more line.
Yeah.
One more line. Just this, and about the deer. Any universal rule cannot be categorical. We have to interpret it according to time and place, taking into account a number of factors. Can we discuss this, like some Manana on this?
Which page is that?
This is
No, it is
235
about the
only, the last.
illegitimate actions. I think it is about the illegitimate actions in the
Yeah,
name of
example of a
protection.
deer. Yeah, deer in Pennsylvania. Yeah. 235 last paragraph. In the middle of this. 6th, 7th line from below. Yeah, just here.
Universal rule cannot be categorical. We have to interpret it according to time and place, taking into account a number of factors. Even a prescribed ritual cannot be done on any day at any time or with any oblation or mantra or in any sequence. People who are religious should know exactly what is to be done and what is not to be done. If they are interested in punya and papa, if they are interested in moksha, the knowledge of karya and akarya is much more clear and intimate because of the predominance of sattva in the mind.
I think this is with respect to laws, no? He's talking of universal laws as well as region-specific laws. So that is what we have to take it with, that time, place, and context.
But ahimsa is a universal law, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, even I was thinking of the same. Telling lies, killing, these are all universal laws.
Correct. So there are some universal laws that apply to everyone. Those are the human values that, irrespective of time, place, they are universal. But then there are other laws, like country-specific laws. So therefore, you cannot mandate anything. That is what he's mentioning, right?
Then it is not a universal law. Universal
There are-
means it is.
That is in terms of worldly do's and don'ts, no? That is why he's classifying it as, in terms of worldly do's and don'ts, there are certain things then depend upon the time and place. So with respect to the world, there are universal laws, like, correct? We all agree that they are not alterable, irrespective of time and place. But for worldly do's and don'ts, then what is acceptable at one time and place may not be at another.
No, this is yama. Yama and niyama. The first yama is we should know what we need not have to do. That is, first is ahimsa. Ahimsa, sattvam, asat means need not have to tell lies. So these are not to do, not to do. That is yama. And to do is niyama. That is cleanliness and all that. There are 5 yamas and there are 5 niyamas. That is the first, this one for the Ashtanga Yoga. And these are universal for any person.
But universal law cannot be categorical. What does it mean? Like,
The only example that comes to my mind is about sunrise. If I say sun rises at 6 a.m., it could be in America or Australia. That is where it changes, time specific and
It is
place
not
specific.
for a person, no. That is nature. For a person to come into this path, the first is yama and then niyama. So yama, in the first yama, the rule is first ahimsa, then asat. We have not to tell thee. Then I don't remember. 5 it is. Those are the 5 things we
Satya,
cannot do.
ahimsa, satya, asteya,
Asteya, that is
aparigraha.
a parikrama. That's all those. So 5, those are to come into the path. So automatically you will fall. So you need not have to harm anyone by kaya, vacha, manasa. Those are not to be done. Therefore, I called it as universal, not the natural. The sun rising and all that is natural. Those are the natural laws. We cannot change it.
I'm not getting any example to share, but then I think even these universal laws are, I think in the very beginning, Swamiji had talked about traffic lights, speeding, and law. I mean, every country has its own law and constitution. So it is all based on these universal values, but then there are some modifications probably based on time and place and country. So I think that is the meaning of that universal laws cannot be categorical. It is not black or white in every place.
Like driving, no? right hand driving, left hand side driving, and they are
That
the
is one.
complete
And
rules.
also the age when you get your license. Maybe it varies from country to
Not
country.
universal laws, but they are not universal laws. They are anyway country specific. Here it says universal law cannot be categorical. What is a universal law? That is what we have to get clear.
I think birth, death, is
For this, we have to go back to introduction of chapter 1. And that's those few pages that we did are so precious, in where Swamiji talks of security, insecurity, what is dharma, what is value. So maybe we should go back there. This only means that we have to revise that.
And maybe those are universal laws, but the Deshakal Patra, again, it changes. We can't force on any country, like since it is a universal law, you have to follow. We can't do that. Maybe that's why that sentence has come, right?
Maybe. And also, the next sentence is about rituals, being religious and being rituals. What the Vedas put down as part of what needs to be done in a ritual is one. But there are always some leeway given. You may not get the whole, all those that are prescribed to be done in the ritual. You may have to alter a little bit based on what is available, based on the time. So I suppose even that is what we need to understand there.
And he also says it is for gaining papa or punya. But if your goal is moksha, then knowledge of karya and akarya is much more clear and intimate because of the predominance of sattva in the mind.
Yeah. You will not, like for instance, in a puja. Yeah, go ahead, Bela.
No, please go ahead.
Like for instance, in a puja, if there is some few ingredients required and you have only say 2 or 5 out of 5 of them, I'm just saying, I may be wrong, this is my understanding. If you're in a sattva guna, a sattvic dhriti, then you're not so caught up on getting the remaining 3. You'll be happy to go ahead with that. Whereas someone who is not sattvic, someone who has a rajasic pravritti, the dhriti, maybe he or she would be a go-getter. Come what may, I've got to get it. So that, the obsession about getting all those might be taking up his or her time rather than the actual ritual. I may be wrong in my understanding, but this is what I think it is.
Yeah, Hariom. Maybe like what you are saying is correct, that Pushpadanta had stolen the flowers for offering to Lord Shiva. But here I believe the example what Swamiji has given is about the illegitimate actions which people are doing in the name of protection. Like here they are killing the deer for 3 months, and with a excuse that because their population is increasing, they need to have a control, and that is why those 3 months you can kill them. So that is, the action is illegitimate in the name of protection of environment. So I think in that connection, the lines are being said.
Yeah, it makes sense. Then it will change from time and place. Yeah.
So many times we do so many things which are in the name of dharma or maybe as a legitimate action, but it is in fact illegitimate. And very beautifully he said that perhaps these deers were all Americans hunting deer before. So the law of karma, that's what is being talked about here by Swamiji.
Like now, Brahmraji was talking about the doing rituals with the perfection, like everything has to be there. But there will be a thin line between being little lazy and being contented with what you have. Maybe that we need to balance.
We need devotion first.
Yeah, here that commitment is also very important, because see, Prakriti is Trigunavalambiनी. So anyway, our body, our mind also is going to go through all these Vata, Pitta, Kapha and Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. So in the Rajasic mode, you will be in the action. But the commitment for the higher goals will keep you in the Sattva mode, even in the actions also. So commitment is very important, I feel. For the higher, that dhriti comes into the picture, resolve for the higher goals, higher purpose. Jai Gurudev. Otherwise, असल मजा हरी तर देईल खाटल्यावरी, लाईक अजमल करे ना चाकरी, पंछी करे ना काम, सबका दाता राम, बैठे रहो, ऐसा नहीं चलता है. जय गुरुदेव.
Yeah, I think Sumaji, you can complete this. There's one more paragraph, I think, for this verse. Dr.
Then
Savita, maybe you can keep this for coming Saturday. We can request Nana to throw some light on this if we require more clarity.
Yeah.
Then further, he knows what is bondage, bandha, and what is freedom, moksha. People often think bondage means having a job, a house, a wife, and children. Some people think having to cut your hair or shave is bondage. People have varieties of notions of bondage. But here is a person with a buddhi that knows that ignorance is bondage. The life of becoming samsara, born of self-ignorance, is the bondage from which one seeks release. Moksha, therefore, is self-knowledge. Buddhi that knows this is called satviki. The buddhi that knows this is called satviki. So, if I have a conceptual knowledge that I am ignorant of self-knowledge, I don't think that's a satviki mind, is it? It's only a conceptual knowledge or information.
No, what Swamiji is saying here, he says, concept of bondage. People think having a house, wife, wealth, all that is bondage. But actual bondage is ignorance. That is binding.
Yes.
That those three basic knots, that avidya, kama, and karma. So that ignorance is bondage. So a sattviki dhriti will look at ignorance as being bondage. He will not consider the wife, house, and this one as being bondage. I think that is, maybe you can read this paragraph again.
What did you say? Avidya?
Avidya, the three knots, right? The three components of the knot. The Hridaya Granthi, Avidya, Kama, Karma.
Kama and karma.
Yeah. So basically, Avidya, here Swamiji spoke about Avidya as ignorance as being the cause of bondage. And it is not see, you can have everything in the world, yet not be bonded. When you are in your mind, you're detached, isn't it? So it is all about knowledge. It's all about awareness. So the ignorance is what is the bondage there. Ignorance of the self, ignorance of your true nature. That is the main bondage, which is why jnana is the last sword. Jnana is the last step where this ignorance is shattered till we realize our true potential.
Also, the ignorance of I, like when we are always relating with I, that is in itself ignorance. So, because of that, you cannot that you cannot. I forgot what I wanted to say. It is like when you have that ignorance of this knowledge, that ignorance, you relate everything to I, then you feel no that you are bonded with everything. Then you get bound with everything. So that self ignorance, if it is removed, then only that oneness would come. No, I don't know whether I'm clear. Because when we are relating everything to myself, that I is there, so there is always that duality, no? So then that, I don't know how to explain.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying. Like in deep sleep, there is nothing there. It's just you that is there. Even where you're sleeping, whether you're sleeping in a hut or in a kingly bed, doesn't matter. You're in deep sleep. So it is only this identification once you wake up and then you start identifying and associating with things, that all this bondage happens. So when we realize that the self is the only thing that is there, and all this is nothing but an illusion. So that knowledge, that the ignorance of the self, that is the main bondage. And it's because of that film of ignorance that we're looking at the world, is we are miserable, we bound. Once that veil of ignorance is removed, then what remains is just the one. And the one that is there in everyone. That everyone disappears, dissolves, and there is only one that remains.
I have a funny question. Will whatever buddhi you're born with, sattvika, rajasika, tamasika, will it change
Yes,
with effort?
it will change. Yeah, it will
Yeah.
change.
With
It will change.
Rajasika will change to a sattvika mind with effort. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's what we are doing.
More
Our
of
path is-
sattva would be there.
More-
So the buddhi would be more of sattvic. Though the
And
action
also-
would be
Asking
action would be
Arjuna's
rajasic
question,
or tam-
this is
yeah.
exactly what Arjuna asked in chapter 6. What will happen to a person, yoga brashta, if he dies without attaining enlightenment, attaining moksha? So what Bhagwan reassures, he gives that assurance. He says, he will not go to he will not go back. There is no question of devolution for him. He will only evolve further. He will be born in a house. So with this self-effort, especially on this moksha mark that you're doing, whatever you do, that is the sadhana, that is the dhana that you will take forward in the future lives. So any refinement of the dhriti that is happening is for good.
Future life, yes. No, what I'm saying in this life.
Yeah, this life also.
If you're born with the tamasika,
in this life, you
I
can go even
agree.
tamasic also, not only sattvic, according to your act. According to your karma, if you are lazy, you will go to tamasic nature.
This
You
is
will,
the evolution happening
it's
now. We are
possible.
moving from the tamasic, rajasic to sattvic. So the mind, the
Yeah.
buddhi is being converted slowly,
Yeah, but it can go
slowly.
down also. It can go
Yes,
down also.
it can go down.
That also is
Yes,
possible. That is what I'm
yes,
talking.
of course. But chances are not 100%. You, the effort which you had, the
Everything depends upon
impressions
your
which you had, no,
everything
they
depends
also,
upon your kriti, what
yeah.
you are committed to.
That is why that sattvic dhriti is dhriti is, of course, the
This is
attitude
the
in the
most
mind, but
important.
that commitment, that determination and commitment to stay steadfast on the path, that is the most important thing that will hold us in this.
Get up and do the sadhana. That is most important. And what we are doing also, nididhyasa. That also is most. There is commitment. Because of the dhriti, we are here. No.
And
On
that is
this.
what, like, no, when something is missed, you, back of mind, you have that thought that I should not have missed it, I should have attended it. These thoughts, these are all that sattvic mind is working, that intellect is, basically the intellect is working there, it is guiding
Yeah, but
us.
it is working after the event. That is what I'm wondering about. So at the time when you had to decide, it went from a um, rajasic or sattvic mind to a tamasic mind when you took the decision, and afterwards you feel, oh, I missed that opportunity. So then it is what? Will you call it sattvic or it is still tamasic?
The act was tamasic, but
Yeah.
your realization that you missed that, it is again a sattvic mind telling you.
Yeah, you have missed one exit, but you will find few more exits in on the road, right?
Hmm. Okay. Thank you. Comforting.
Prayers also, if you have that intention and that stirred up in the heart, no, for the path or for the further this thing, of course, the nature supports you to go on the higher this thing. So prayers and surrender also. Then all the support systems also. See, so many of us, we were longing. That is why we have come to this group, no? Otherwise, so many are there, but why only few, 15, 20 people are so regular with this? So somewhere our prayers are answered. For the higher goal, if you have anything inside and that prayerful bhav, that please help me, and definitely the help comes for sure. Even if you fall,
Yeah.
Guru says, no, 10 steps you have gone for in the front. So some of us even go back up to the 8 steps, but you will never go back up to the 10 steps. So even if we fall, even if we take some another route or do anything, this again, uh, God is there to take us into His envelope. So don't worry. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you. So, do we stop here or you can continue with the next verse? What is Rajasi Buddhi?
We can read a little bit, yeah. Still time.
Yeah,
5
you can
minutes.
read.
Yeah. 5
Yeah,
minutes.
you can read this sloka.
Yeah, chant it. Yaya dharmam cha karyam cha karyameva cha ayathavat prajanati बुद्धिः सा पार्थ राजसी.
Partha, O Arjuna, Yaya, Buddhya, the mind with which Dharmam, Adharmam cha, Dharma and Adharma, Karyam cha, Akaryam eva cha, what is to be done and what is not to be done. Ayatatva, Ayatatvat, wrongly. Prajananti, Prajananti, knows. Sabuddhi, that mind. Rajasi is Rajasi. O Arjuna, the mind with which Dharma and Adharma, what is to be done and what is not to be done, wrongly knows, that mind is Rajasi. That mind with which one wrongly knows what is proper and improper, what is to be done and what is not to be done, Arjuna, is Rajasi. What does he mean by wrongly knows?
He
What?
interprets with his own convenience, you know.
Okay.
With the film of Raga Dvesha. When we read
No,
further, I think we will understand.
if it is comfortable to him, he will take it. Otherwise, no. Like that.
Or
He
maybe
interprets-
knowing that
he interprets
someone
the same
doesn't.
dharma in his own convenient time. Oh, I can get up at 8 o'clock and then do the kriya, like that. There's all such things. Small things, but adjust according to his comfort.
Or someone who doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Okay, it's a small explanation. I'll quickly read it.
We can read this
It's
here.
a mind. This is the buddhi by which a given person knows certain things such as dharma and adharma, what is enjoined by the Shastra and what is not enjoined by the Shastra, what is negated, pratisiddha, by the Shastra and what is not, what is to be done and what is not to be done, karya and akarya. Looking at the list, it looks as though Krishna is repeating what he said in the previous verse. But with one word in the second line, he just changing the whole thing. How does one know all these? He knows them wrongly. Ayatavat. He knows them wrongly. So wrong understanding is it? To know something yatavat, as it is to know as it is. Ayatavat is to know these things not as they are intended, but wrongly. He quotes and reads the Shastra wrongly, interpreting it according to his convenience. Shankara says that this person interprets the Shastra without completely ascertaining what it is all about. Therefore, he not only knows janati, but he knows with conviction. Prajnanati, prajnanati, that is, knows improperly. Prajanati, jnanati and prajanati. Prajanati is he.
It is janati. Janati.
Janati, prajanati.
Prajanati.
Janati, prajanati. So prajanati is he knows it improperly. So wrong understanding or immature understanding, incorrect understanding, all that, right? So this is about
knowledge. Like incomplete knowledge, we can say. He has some, but
not complete. And
he does not know it yatavat. As it is, he does not know, but he knows it as ayatavat, incorrectly, wrongly. Hmm. So can you give some example of such an understanding, wrong understanding, or wrong, incomplete knowledge? So then it will lead to incomplete action or wrong action as well, isn't it?
Yeah, distorted form of knowledge.
example, like in
Yeah.
Karma Yoga, no? The Karma Yoga, when various verses are there, no, where some discussion was done by or the Purva Pakshis, like the arguments are there. They know the Shastra, but they have some different understanding.
Okay. Like Atma and Atma, all that.
Yeah.
Or
So
even the fanatics or the terrorists who have the distorted knowledge. Like there was a movie from Manoj Vajpayee who uses these verses from Bhagavad Gita, Atma Amar Hai, and then I'm not killing. These kind of verses he uses and he kills people.
That is totally tamasic, isn't it? Using knowledge wrongly. This is
and
the
going for sannyasa without mentally not prepared, and just like in a just in a hush, he takes that sannyasa without like preparing his mind. So that would be also a rajasic mind, no?
So that feverishness, isn't it? That's how rajasic.
He took the decision, but then he is not able to follow. Though he has he had thought of sannyasa, but then he could not be in it.
It's also out of convenience, no? He takes things, decides. It's all about convenience. It is not about what is to be done. See, a Satviki mind knows karya, akarya, what is to be done, what is not to be done. And he has that clarity. Whereas a Rajasic mind, he knows what is to be done, what is not to be done with a film of convenience. He
Is
puts
it or is understanding itself is wrong, Brahmaraji? I don't think the understanding is wrong. So he's not doing it with purpose. He's or with convenience. His understanding itself is wrong. So it is Rajasic Buddhi itself. He cannot think in a sattvic way. This is what understanding I got. I don't know.
People take to sannyasa when they do not have, they meet their ends, then also for like they seek sannyasi, like it will be easy for begging, and like just like these, no, the thoughts are for the people that I should wear these robes so that I can get the alms easily. They
But the
beg.
Swamiji has not said this, that out of laziness, this is the understanding. Here, the people themselves don't understand what is right and wrong. So understanding itself is wrong. So they are
Understanding
taking
is
these
wrong.
paths.
Yeah. So the understanding is wrong. That is why they are doing wrong acts, no? And it is not they are, it is not that they are just sitting in a place. They are doing some action. They are doing something. So that action is there.
No, they interpret the dharma.
And also, to be feared and what should not be feared. So we should fear dharma. That's what it is,
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we'll wind up here. We'll take this discussion tomorrow. We'll read this. Just note this shloka. It is from 31, right? This is 31?
Yeah.
31. 31. Let's begin from 31 and continue tomorrow. Okay. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहधनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पडीयसी माया